Cache-maniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
Welcome back to GeoGearHeads. This is episode 371. This is the weekly show about geocaching and location-based games and all that kind of stuff. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. We have a very exciting guest for you today, but before we get to him, I must introduce my co-host, Chris of the Northwest.
Oh, I'm shocked and overjoyed that you would announce me. Daryl, it's good to be back. I love being here with you on a Thursday evening. And thank you so much for all of these listeners. Tonight, we've got a great show. Bouncebounce, or Mr. Bounce, as we've been referring to him in the pre-show, is a cacher here in Washington State making some incredible gadget caches. So, Bounce, will you say hi to all of your adoring fans?
Yes, hello, everyone.
There you go. All the adoring
to everyone who doesn't yet adore you, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We kind of started out of something before show that we didn't get to finish, so we're going to do it now. How on earth did you come up with Bounce?
So that was a name that was given to me by my son. When we went on a vacation years ago, and my wife said, "Hey, I have this new fun thing we should do when we're out on vacation called geocaching." I was like, "Well, what is that?" And she says, "It's treasure hunting, around the city." And I said, "Well, that sounds stupid. I don't want to do that." And so she said, "Well, let's give it a try." And so we did it, and she had an account, and we found a few of them, and it's wet Tupperware and light skirts, and I was like, "This is dumb. I hate this. This is boring." And then I found a creative one, and that kind of changed everything. I thought, "Oh, I can do something with this." But when we first started, when I didn't like them, we gave myself an account too, and I had all these bouncy balls that we were putting in as swag. And so I said, "I don't know what to make myself a name." And my son says, "Oh, you should be bouncy balls," since that's what I kept leaving. And I said, "No, I don't want to be bouncy balls." And I said, "But I'll be bounce. That's okay. I don't care. And this game's stupid anyways." So, and then I started making them, and it's turned me around.
Yeah, this is coming from the fellow who's probably spent, 40,000 hours just making containers.
Yeah, a lot of time and money into making caches, lab caches, everything.
Well, we weren't going to talk about the money because, the
geocaching is free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, but it's fun, My wife doesn't mind it. She says it could be worse. She could be out at the bar drinking or something. So she'd rather have me spending the money on something like this.
Okay, so one addiction is better than another. You just have to choose which one that happens to be at the moment.
That's right.
Okay. I'll go with that, actually. Well, I'm appreciative you're not out in the bar drinking away your money to make caches, because you make some incredible gadget caches.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's fun. I enjoy making them.
And Chris has actually had the pleasure of finding those. I haven't.
Some of them. There's still some I'm kind of saving for a rainy day. Or
well, I thought you found all of them, including the ones that he still has in the garage that he hasn't posted yet.
Well, I've actually
found you sneak in at night and pre-test them in the lab for him.
Daryl, that was said in confidence before the show.
Sorry. I didn't realize.
Yeah. No, I don't do that.
I have a huge pile of ones that I've started making them, and then put them together. I do them, and there's something wrong with it. I don't quite like it. Mess with it, and then I can't think of what I want, so I stick it in this pile, and then later on I'll try and figure it out or come up with some idea to change it to. So there's plenty of those sitting over there.
So where do you get some of your ideas?
Just driving down the road thinking about it. A lot of them, I didn't reinvent the wheel on a lot of them. I mean, if you go online, you go to YouTube, you look up, escape room games. I've done a lot of those, so ideas from there. A lot of them are pretty basic. Some of them I've just been messing around. I have the ones where the LEDs flash. You got to count them. I made that on accident. I was just trying to make something for my son, a little computer screen thing, and I thought, man, I can't. That's pretty fast. And so I started counting the colors so I could do something. And I thought, hey, that'd be a good cache. So then I got to count the colors.
Yeah, that's not an easy one to do.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it seems easier than what it really is.
So, are there ideas you've come up with that you haven't been able to implement? You say, "Oh, I see that. That would be really cool," but you haven't quite worked it out yet.
Yeah, there's several of them like that. I have one that I actually want it to be a phone that actually calls somewhere. There are some cachers out there actually working on them right now that's getting done, that's getting close to having theirs done. That's going to be like that. And there'll be several different lines that will call, and it won't be the right number. You got to call the exact number it needs to be. I'm good at building them, but coding, I'm not the best coder in the world. So it takes me time to sit there and mess with it and try and change a code and get frustrated and stuff like that. So I'm better at building things. I could build pretty much any box or anything you want like that. But when it comes to coding, so there's a good a good Facebook page that I'm a member of just Gadget Cache builders, that if any of us have any questions, we put it on there and help each other out.
Nice. Well, I have to say that you have some tools that I am completely envious of. And if anybody's watching the video, if you look behind Bounce Bounce on the wall there, you'll see two signs. One is a travel bug, which is a little larger than normal. And the other one is a notice sign. Now, these notice signs you've used on several of your geocaches. How do you make that up? Because, you just can't go into a metal sign shop and say, hey, I want a sign like this. Well, you can, but it costs a little bit of money.
So I have a plotter, a vinyl plotter to make them out in. And if it's something, mine's not too big. If it's something bigger or something else I need, my brother-in-law has a little vinyl sign company that he'll make them for me. So I can buy the blank signs down at the store. They're not very expensive, like $6, and then just cut the vinyl out and put them on there.
So you end up with a professional looking sign that, if you're not paying attention, if you just, see it in passing, you don't think a thing of it. But, like the one up there, it says notice Sasquatch area. You go, well, wait, that's not a normal looking sign.
Yeah, that one's a little more noticeable when you have that on there, but that was for the GeoCoin Fest. Some of them do have the notice or warning, even though I didn't realize this until recently. You're not supposed to have a warning or notice or danger, I think, on any geocache.
Really?
Yeah, a reviewer told me that. So, but most of them have that notice or danger or warning on them. One says no voltage instead of high voltage. It says no voltage. Just different things like that you don't, when you walk by it, it just looks normal. You wouldn't even pay attention to it.
Right. Well, it's not danger. It's my friend, Dan Gurr, and it's his sign.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, that's a typical Chris joke, right?
Oh, come on, Daryl. That wasn't that bad.
You're saying your jokes are usually worse than that?
Yes, much worse. Yes.
Okay. I won't argue with that.
I've seen the signs for Dan Gurr all over the place, but I have not yet met him. I figure he's got to be around.
Yikes.
So sorry.
You mentioned that you didn't really like caching until you actually got into creating the caches. What was that was the catalyst to get you building caches, especially caches at that level?
Well, I slowly worked up. I mean, I've had light skirts too at first, just to get going on them. I no longer have those. But I started with like PVC pipes that come out of the ground with different things. I found one that was pretty creative like that down in Astoria. And so after finding that one, I started thinking about it. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough to be a property manager, so I have a lot of commercial properties I'm able to put creative things like this on with permission. And so it makes a big difference when you're able to use power from the building or bolt stuff to the walls or cement something into the ground. So just things like that, thinking of ideas, walking down Home Depot or Lowe's and looking in the pipe section at different things. I'm an engineer, so I know what a lot of stuff for what properties or construction sites need or should look like. And so I can make stuff look like that. I have old fire panels that aren't real, things like that I can put out there.
Interesting. You mentioned the property manager. Can you actually show, I'm thinking for some other people who might want to pitch to other property companies, that there's increased traffic from these geocaches that you're putting out?
I put them in places where you're not going to walk over plants
Sure.
or anywhere where you're going to destroy anything. If you're thinking about bringing extra traffic in for like customers or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Something to show that, hey, this brings more business into these merchants. So yes,
So
you want to do this.
Yeah, I have found, or I have gone out and talked to a lot of different businesses that I'm not a property manager of, like for GeoCoinFest, and let them know that, more than likely, I can't guarantee it's going to bring more business, but more than likely, someone's going to be coming in here and doing this, buying something. One of them's at a coffee stand out there, and they actually saw a huge increase in business from it, and they love it. They love sitting there watching cashers try and figure it out. So yeah, I
Excellent.
do talk to them about that. It helps when you can take something, you can go and talk to them and tell them what you're thinking of, but people really can't visualize stuff like that. So typically I'll stop by and find something I want to put on there or something that will fit in real well, and I'll build it and then take it over there and show them exactly what it is. And they love it because then they can actually visualize it, see it. It doesn't look bad. It fits in.
So have you ever done something like that where they say, sorry, no, you can't put this here, and had to repurpose it for a different location?
No, because I haven't put anything out that I didn't have permission for. So
no, I meant to build it, because you said
to build it.
Right.
Yes, I have a couple in my garage that I built that I didn't have a chance to put out because they didn't want it after all. But one is, they're pretty basic, LED ones where you hold a battery up to it and the LEDs come on and you just decrypt the lock from the color of the lights and stuff. So nothing real big.
So yeah, not the nice big intricate donut vault that you have behind you either.
No. I save those ones for the properties I manage because I know they're going to be safe.
Right.
And I'm not going to have any issues with them. So.
Well, I think you just you just anticipated one of my future questions, which was, how do you keep these things safe? Given that these do cost a lot of money, but more importantly, so much of your time.
I make sure that they're mounted very well to something. All my caches, I think, are bolted to a wall or cemented in the ground. And they look very official so that they don't stand out to where someone's going to say, oh, what is that? And start messing with it. So yeah, I've been lucky that way.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of your caches coming up, but the ones you walk up to, you're like, you sure this is where I'm supposed to be? But, then you may see a large sign above that, in so many words tells you, yes, this is the right place. Have your gadget caches changed over time as you've, found that, maintaining this type of gadget is a lot more work than if I, change the inner workings to do, X instead of Y, it's a little easier to maintain?
I haven't changed any to the point of kind of downgrading them. I've upgraded several of them. I really, when I first started doing that, I wasn't sure on archiving the cache and republishing it because it is completely different. My holiday travel bug hotel has changed 4 times since I put it out.
Has it?
Yeah. So
I
I've had
need
people
to go find it again.
Yeah, I don't know if you found it. It has an RFID card reader in it now.
No.
So yeah, you have to scan it.
Interesting.
So that one's changed 4 times. And so if you haven't found it recently, I'll have people go back to Exchange Travel Bugs and they'll call me and say, hey, the cache is gone or it's different. What's going on? So, now I've learned that I need to archive them and republish them, but I've always upgraded them. I haven't had to downgrade any yet. Luckily, I'm at most of the properties once a week, so it's easy enough for me to maintain them. I do have one though, the Holiday Travel Bug Hotel that I made to change monthly. It has a display case in it, so I can change the holiday thing monthly. And that was something that my wife and I was going to do, and it has just turned into too much work to sit there and redecorate it monthly. So it actually still has the decorations from last summer in it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So that will change.
I think I found it around Cinco de Mayo.
So it had the Cinco de Mayo theme in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it still has the theme of Goblin Dust Pirate Event.
Okay.
In it. So kind of old.
Now it's just a holiday, a pirate holiday cache.
That's right. Yeah.
Still sounds like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought about having cachers submit me ideas and let them decorate it for a couple months at a time.
Oh, there you go.
And but it just then I got to go out there and help them, and it's something I haven't done. I think it would be kind of fun though for people to be able to do.
It would, though. If I was just thinking, if you did something like you had to solve a second puzzle, and then you could get in to change the display, but then you don't know who's got what and taking other people's objects, which wouldn't be necessarily bad, especially if you made that with travel bugs.
Yeah,
maybe there's a new idea for a cache for you.
Yeah, well, most of my caches actually do have 2 steps to get into them. So there's a step to get into them from the outside to actually access the box, and then there's another step to get to the log. Especially the hotels. That way, if you want to just exchange bugs, you only have to go through 1 step. But if you actually want to log it, you have to figure out the second on it. But that was one thing. The reason why my display case actually locks up so good is because I didn't want to put something in there and have it disappear. Because some things, I have some coins in there right now that I probably shouldn't have in there. But they've been safe so far.
Find this.
Yeah. Tomorrow they'll be gone.
Yeah, Chris gets there tomorrow and says, "Oh, gee, those coins that you spoke of don't seem to be there anymore."
Yeah. I don't know what you mean. Nice. Now, Bounce, many of your, well, maybe all of your travel bug hotels have received awards from the Travel Bug Hotels of America.
Yes.
You get a 5 bug rating.
Yes.
Which is really quite an honor.
It is in this case. 5 bug rating, I don't know if it would typically be an honor, but for the Travel Bug Hotels, it is. It's very nice. It was a surprise. I didn't even realize that was even a thing until I got an email about it, and it was really cool. It's actually a fun thing to do.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go to a regular hotel with a 5 bug rating. However, a travel bug hotel with a 5 bug rating is worth you getting off the freeway for.
Yes. Yes.
So
it's
what
fun.
is this rating?
So there's the Travel Bug Hotel Association.
Travel Bug Hotels of America.
Yeah, there you go, Chris. They give out 5 bug awards to travel bug hotels throughout I think just the United States. Travel Bugs America, that makes sense. So they base it off of people, I think, giving them votes for them and sending in pictures, and then they'll award you the award, and then you then put it on your page.
Cool. So it's basically a bunch of people who are handling it, and anyone, I gather, can do the submission process.
Yes. Yeah, the way I understand it, yes. And they have a Facebook page that, they are always awarding new ones, and you can go in there and find the hotels that they've awarded in areas and stuff.
Kind of like a directory, but probably not quite so easy to search since it's on just a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's prestigious. I don't know if they do one a month. I think they do them just as
it's pretty random.
Available.
Yeah, it seems pretty random. And yeah, I agree with you, Bounce Bounce. I never knew they existed before, we saw it on your page and go, what is this? The only way I know how to get a hold of them is, again, through the Facebook page. That's the TB Hotels of America on Facebook. And but the travel bug hotels that they feature, there we go, and give awards to, are incredible. I mean, Daryl, you found some incredible travel bug hotels, I know, and you go, wow, this is really cool. Well, there's a place you can submit them now if you want to have them known, throughout the geocaching universe.
Yes, but honestly, I'm more interested in hitting up their directory and trying to find some more of those amazing travel bug hotels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to know how to get those myself. So that would be something we'll have to look into.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have them on the show.
I'm thinking that would be a good idea. GSM times 2 in the chat asks if you can talk about your association with GCHQ and Trackables, though. And I'm not sure at all what that means.
I'm not sure what that is. I know recently they've received a bunch of Trackables that went missing, and they've put them in. They put a lot in my hotels. I think a couple of them had like 80 of them in each hotel.
Yikes.
That just because they needed big, secure hotels to put them in to get them back out in the wild. Other than that, I don't know what else he'd be talking about. I think that might be it.
Well, let's back up for a minute and explain what's going on. I don't know if it's just Washington State or if it was elsewhere in the world, but a huge collection of Trackables that had gone missing. Somebody had hoarded them and kept them. And finally they turned in, I want to say, thousands of Trackables to geocaching headquarters. I don't know if they did. Somehow they just showed up one day. This is all I know. I don't have the details.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. And so there are thousands of Trackables, and it's just too many to put out. So as the lackeys are going out to events and different things, they're taking handfuls of these Trackables to put them back out in the wild. The lackeys are also trying to contact the owners, as they have them say, hey, your Trackable has shown up again. I'm going to put it in this cache, good luck. So I didn't know they were using your travel bug hotels Bounce Bounce, but that, makes so much sense.
They're using a lot of the secure ones around here. Team Finn has a big one that they fill up and stuff, but I do know that I have several secure ones that they've filled and overfilled. I have a bag, I think, of about 40 of them because you open the door and they start falling out. So I am going to slowly put them in as they fill up, as they leave.
Okay.
And the nice thing is actually one of them, when I first put out the 520 Travel Bug Hotel, I let a Lego guy go there, and it only made it to one other stop and went missing. And there was one that was found, and they stuck it back in that hotel it started in, so I was able to grab it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
It's always fun being able to grab those Trackables that have been running around for a while, just to say, hey, I actually had my hands on it again. Get the photos.
This only made one stop, one other stop from my hotel, and then it disappeared. And I kind of wasn't surprised. It's a Lego fig, and a lot of kids probably saw that and said, hey, this is cool, I'll keep it. And so that's what I thought happened.
Which is probably why so many of those that you see as Trackables have been subjected to the Craggle.
Yeah.
What do you mean, the Craggle? Wouldn't he be? So he's a keychain, and it looks like a toy that you would be able to keep. Just got this big funny tag on it, but other than that, it's completely playable, play worthy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what. Sorry, I had too. It's an Imperial Trooper keychain Lego that's all craggled together. So this is the one that actually went missing that I got back. So now I'm going to keep him probably because I think he'll go missing again.
Yeah, most likely. Sadly, that is the way of the travel bug.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So talk about this 520 TB hotel, because that's one that Chris was saying was a cool one.
But he hasn't found it yet.
I haven't found. let me tell you, every time I say I haven't found that, somebody says, "Oh, you've got to. This is an incredible, you know, yada da 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 da." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, okay." I feel guilty that I haven't found this incredible cache. Let me tell you, first of all, it has 246 favorite points. If that tells you anything, it lets you know how loved this particular TB hotel is.
Yeah, yeah, it has 264 favorite points on it. It's my favorite hotel. Well, it was my favorite cache until 3 of 3, or It Takes 3. But
yes, I know that
It
one.
Takes 3 was fun, and we can talk about that later. But it was great. It's located on the loading dock outside of a shopping center.
Hold on now. Wait, don't spoil it for me because I haven't found it yet.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Then you need to take your headset off, I guess. No. Anyways,
stick
no,
your
stick your fingers in here. It's just in a container that looks like it belongs there, and lights up and everything. It's powered by the building, and then there's a couple steps to get into it that you have to figure it out. It's kind of a puzzle on there, but there is a sign there that does let you know that it is a geocache.
Well, I like those boxes that look like they actually belong to the landscape, and I found a few of them, but and the like loading docks, but never anything that's powered.
Yeah.
Have you had anyone worry about that being something it wasn't supposed to have been?
You mean powered, or?
Well, just a cache like that in a location that some people might consider sensitive.
Yeah. Well, I've had a couple people. I usually put my phone number on there because for you to text or call me, because I want you to actually find it. I'm not one of those people that I want it to be really hard and be frustrating. I want you to try and find it. And if you can't, I'll give you a nudge. I've had people call me and say, "Oh, it's missing," and no, I'm sure it's not missing. It's bolted to the wall. It's not going to go anywhere. And then I had another person call me because they thought an alarm was going to go off or something if they actually opened it. Another cacher told me that his son was telling him, "Don't do it, don't do it. The police are going to come and get us." So, but yeah, I've had some people, I've also had people tell me that they don't like to teach their kids to mess with things like that, and I can understand that. That's typically why I mark my caches so they're very clear they're a geocache. Like this sign over here, you see that geocache logo there out of vinyl, that round logo. I put those on the front of all of my caches, so then it's a geocache, so it's okay to get in there.
Yeah, it's a symbol that any geocacher should know.
Yeah.
Right, but the general public typically doesn't, so they just ignore it.
Right. Bounce, you brought up a great point. I have a old security cam that is perfect. I mean, it comes apart just perfect for a cache, and I'm really hesitant to put it out because I don't want people then to go mess with real security cams after. Well, I found one like this. Let's shake it. Nope, that's really attached. It's kind of what happens to sprinkler heads now. People are going to go take apart sprinkler heads because, well, I found one in here, and they find out, nope, it's a real sprinkler head. So
I think that's why they got rid of allowing sprinkler heads as a cache.
Yeah.
Or those fake sprinkler heads. Yeah, did you find my coffee break one at GeoCoinFest? No. That's a security camera.
Yes.
Did you find that one? You don't take the camera apart, but
Right.
it is a fake security camera involved with it.
Yeah. And the more I think about it, I did find that one behind you, the Sasquatch area.
Oh, okay.
I remember that now.
Tidman's Park, I think, is what it was, or
exactly.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just one of those. I was like, no, I don't remember. But the more I look at it, I go, of course, yeah, I did find it. I don't know what I was going to say. Anyway, your containers are incredible. What, where do you get these containers that look like they fit into the environment?
A lot of times when we're demoing buildings or demoing tenants out of buildings that leave, they're left over and we recycle them. So I'll keep the ones I want, like old fire panels or anything like that, old meter boxes. And then some of them I end up purchasing, depending on, you know, how big they are. One of them, like Monitor Station's an old milk box that we had sitting around, and so that worked out really well. It's very waterproof and very secure. So, but typically I end up getting them off of properties, but sometimes some of them I will purchase the container themselves for. Usually just my puzzle boxes, I end up buying the containers.
Those are I can't remember the name of the cases. They're black waterproof cases. You know, snap the audio guys, video guys use them all the time.
Like a Pelican case.
Pelican. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. I have over 20 of those.
You almost have to get your own little U-Haul trailer to take them all out to events.
Yeah.
Well, Larry in the chat is asking what kind of tools and equipment you have in the workshop to enable you to make these caches.
Nothing special in here. I have my soldering and heat gun, my rework station, a TV. I have to be watching something while I'm making these. And then lots and lots of circuit boards and screens. If you can see here, my drawers are full of Arduino parts, all kinds of buttons and everything. That's what I really need. The boards themselves, the tools, mainly just a solder gun and a heat gun to, you know, and then to do acrylic work like this one, just a router and table saw, pretty much. Nothing big.
So mostly stuff that you might have had in like your 1960s and 70s home workshop.
Yeah, it really is. You could do a basic solder gun, and you can get some solder boards and wire, and just solder everything together. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean it's not the parts are not difficult. The way he puts them together is what makes them special. To give you an example, that 520 Travel Bug Hotel we were talking about has 264 favorite points on 378 finds.
Oh, so, does it? I actually didn't know that.
I just looked it up. So, you know, 2/3 of everybody who finds it puts a favorite point on it. And that's probably,
here's the question.
Non-premium.
I was just going to say that. The question is, what is the number of premium versus regular memberships that have found it?
Hold on, I'm counting.
Well, you could go and punch that in at Project GC.
Oh, really?
Yes. They have that favorite counter thing that tells you.
I didn't know that. Now I gotta go look. Hold on, I'm going to go look at that.
Right. While you go and look at that, you mentioned that It Takes Three was your favorite cache, and I actually saw that one on Instagram, and I think even there you said it was your favorite cache. So you have to tell us a bit about that one, especially because that one only has 184 favorite points. So it obviously can't be as good.
Yeah, it had I think it got 130 of them in the first weekend. But luckily it was GeoCoin Fest. So that helps when you have that many people finding them.
That it does.
But that one I actually end up doing with Goblin Dust, who's a local gadget cache hider around here, does amazing caches. It's in Issaquah, and I don't really want to give it away, but it actually takes 3 to 6 people to find it. I get a lot of people that
open it.
To open it, yes, you can find it quicker than that. There's a sticker on the front, in fact. I've had a lot of people show up by themselves thinking that they could put tape on a button or something to find it. Hasn't been successful. So they ended up asking. It's right next to a jogging trail, and so they get joggers, and there's also a Pokestop right at the cache, so they'll get Pokemon people to help them to open it up. But it actually does take 3 to 6 people to find it.
I like the idea of the Poke people doing it.
Poke people,
because you have the joggers and then you have the Poke people.
Mm-hmm.
So you have
not as fast
the Poke people.
You got the runners and the Pokies. Yeah,
exactly. So,
yeah,
maybe they just eat a lot of sushi.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Oh man, This is far too late to be recording a show. I think that's what it comes down to.
I've actually used the Pokemon people to access it to maintain it once. I have an override on the lock, but I forgot to bring my 12-volt battery. So I ended up just grabbing a couple of masks to push some buttons for me, and they were able to help me find it. So, but it's 6 buttons you have to push at the same time to get the container. It will automatically pop open once you push all the buttons at the same time.
It's one of those that we're like, no way. Oh, this is so cool. And then then we stood and waited for the next people to come. They go, have you found it? Yeah, we're just going to watch you find it. And to see that moment of aha, it was like, oh no, how cool is that?
I watched. I stated that one quite a bit on GeoCoinFest for the event. Watching people, and you get that group of 10 people right around the cache itself, looking for buttons, pushing on anything they can find, and then they finally spot something, and oh, okay, well, then it all clicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those Pokemon trainers that you had help you out. Any idea if they went to find caches after that?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, they'll be disappointed on any cache find they find after that.
I was just thinking the same thing. You've encouraged them to go find these awesome things called geocaches, and they find an LPC as their next one. They'll probably be coming to egg your house.
So I was told a story on that. So Jeremy from Geocaching, one of the founders, was out eating dinner down the street from it and talked to some muggles about geocaching and wanted to know what it was. So he said, oh, we'll go do this one down the street. So he took them to the It Takes Three, and they found it. And he goes, wow, this is great. Are they all like this? And he said, nope, this is probably the best one. You might as well stop now.
He's not wrong.
So it's pretty good. There's a lot of good caches out there, a lot of good hiders. It was fun. That was one of those that everything there was existing. I just happened to know how stuff works, and had the creative mind to say, hey, I can do this and this to it. And I had the concept in my head, and I took Scott out there, or Goblin Dust out there, and I originally was going to do 2 or 3 buttons, and he's the one who came up with 6 buttons. And the 6 buttons is what really makes it. I mean, that's great.
So those 6 buttons weren't there, but the rest of the stuff was?
Correct. So we ran the wiring. It took us about 8 hours to run the wiring for it all, but all the conduit was there and everything.
So it was just
abandoned,
like exposed boxes and whatnot.
Yeah,
and put buttons
exactly.
into it. Got it.
Yeah, and then I just mounted the cache to a pole. So it was fun. You're gonna have to come up here and do that one. It's good.
One of these days, I will get out there, and I'm thinking it's going to be in 2020.
Yeah.
It's not one that's readily noticeable. I mean, you could walk by it and not see it. But
unless it's night, because there's a red light that flashes on the front of it at night.
Well, that's true. But even so, I mean, there's so many blinking lights around that people don't pay much attention to them anymore. Oh, that must be a security system or something. But yeah, it's one of those things that once you see it, you're like, oh, this is genius. This is genius.
And the paint match is almost identical. That was one of the requirements for me to stick it in there, because it's actually at an old Shell station that's a historical building. And they didn't want to take away from that at all. So I told them that I would paint it to match everything so it blends in very well. And they were very happy with it.
Well, that makes it even cooler yet.
Yeah.
So how does it get the power? Is that one that's actually getting the
12 volt?
Okay, so 12 volt, and you have to change it, or are you doing some kind of solar cell?
So just a 12 volt lead acid right now, because the only time you're using any power is when the buttons are pushed for the few seconds. So it's been out. I check on it once a week. It's been out. I don't know, since September. October 1st, September 30th, whatever.
Coming up on 6 months.
Yeah. So my plan originally was to stop by and change them out after about 6 months, just to make sure and recharge the battery. But I have one that's been out for almost 2 years on the 12 volt without having to change it.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but you know, the amount of power it uses is just when you push the buttons, and that's it.
And for the 12 volt, I assume we're not talking about like car batteries, though.
No, it's the lead acid one. You find them at Home Depot, Lowe's. We use it for fire panels. Some emergency lighting uses them. So yeah, they're just ones like that.
They're
And then I
probably
have a
what,
charger.
3 inch by 1 inch by 1.5 inches?
So they're right here. It's about
Oh, it's bigger than I thought. Okay.
yeah. So it's about 4 inches, about two and a half by about 6 inches, something like that.
Well, twice as big as I thought.
They have them. I use some. In fact, this one here uses the same thing, but it's actually half the size of this. So it's pretty much cut in half.
Oh, 6 volt. Yeah.
No, it's a 12 volt
I
as
know,
well.
I'm joking with you.
Oh,
It's half
okay.
the
Yeah.
size.
They do have 6 volts that are even smaller. That would work fine. But yeah, I don't have too many issues with them. I just pick them up, change them out once in a while, and charge them just to make sure. I have considered, you know, Harbor Freight has these really inexpensive solar panels now that are not very big at all. I've considered trying that, but you know, then I got to worry about someone trying to damaging it or doing something to it, and I haven't really messed with it too much yet.
Well, I'll let you know. Team Noltex here in the Tacoma area has started using those. So.
Yeah. On
Get
his
with
Price
them.
is Right game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an incredible cache. That's an episode by itself.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely sounds like someone else we should talk with then.
Yeah,
I think the first cache of yours I ever found was called Monitoring Station. That's GC74 Mike Charlie Romeo. And it was one of those. Wits End actually found it first, and he says, "You've got to come out and find this." You said the container was originally a milk container?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like
It's a milk box.
Milk box. There you go. They'd come. I mean, we still have milk delivered in the area. Daryl, I think you have that in Michigan too, right? You can have fresh milk delivered to the home.
You know, I think they finally stopped doing that a couple of years ago.
Okay. We still have that out here. I mean, not many people do it, but this is, you know, so this is what the milkmen would put the milk in. And it's just one of those. It's got a vinyl printed sign that looks completely official, and you have to solve some puzzle to get into it. But I don't remember what
Not
that is.
a real hard one.
Series of lights.
Not lights, just colored vinyl dots. Pretty basic.
That's it. Yeah. There you go.
That's one I want to redo really bad. It has an antenna that sticks up, so it actually, you know, it's a monitoring station. It has red light that flashes on the front of it, so hopefully people won't mess with it. In fact, unfortunately, just about a month ago, we've had some homeless people move in behind it there on the city property that we can't get rid of, and they have not messed with it. So it's working, but we'll see. I might end up moving that one.
So yeah, that one, let's see, has 136 finds or 136 favorites out of 223 finds. So it's fabulous. It was the one that for me put Bounce on the map.
Yeah, it was fun to make. You know, originally when you opened it up, I was going to have circuit boards there that lit up. So it looked like it was actually something, and then you had to do something to pop them up, and underneath it would be the logbook or the cache. But eventually it will change.
Okay. And then one more we have to talk about. I know we're running a little long, Daryl. But
but I'm definitely interested to find out about the
this is a non-gadget cache. Bounce, you were privileged enough to get one of the new virtuals. Yeah,
I did. I got one of those, and my original spot I was going to put it was actually at the airport in Seattle. Fortunately enough, I'm stuck in Seattle traffic downtown, right in front of Pike Place Market, and I thought, oh, this would be a great place to put a cache. So I actually, sitting in traffic, was able to get the cords and do everything right there when I was in the area, and actually submit it for publishing. But yes, so I put it at the Pike Place Market, which is a great place. You know, the first Starbucks is there, the gum wall, the flying fish, everything. It was a fun place to put it. So I get a lot of visits there.
I was shocked to see almost 1,300 visits since it was put out.
Yeah, you don't need to say the stats on that one because it only has 148 favorites out of 1,300 visits.
Yeah, but a virtual is going to draw a lot more non-premium, I think.
Is it?
And it truly is a tourist attraction. I mean, everybody, when they come to Seattle, wants to go to Pike Place Market. It's one of, I want to see the Space Needle. I want to see Pike Place. I want to, see, it's now Mopop, right? I want to call it the EMP.
Yeah.
There are just a few things. I have to see these, and then we're okay to move on.
I think it gets found almost every day. Out there, weekends several times a day, but it's really fun. It was a great privilege to actually get that. That was a complete surprise to get. So it was really nice. I've only been caching since 2015. So I don't think virtuals was an option when I was trying to submit caches. So it was a complete surprise to me. Unfortunately, I don't find as many caches. I enjoy creating them more than finding them, unless they're real creative caches. I'll go find them. But so I didn't know anything about them when I first got that, but it was really cool.
Well, you definitely made up for it. That's an excellent cache. GSM ×2 says it got a favorite point from him.
Oh, well, great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I was going to say, before we let you go, what type of caches do you like to find when you go finding them?
Anything that someone put effort into making. I like gadget caches, anything gadgety, but anything but a light skirt or a guardrail or a piece of Tupperware behind a tree that's all soaked. In fact, I'll give a favorite point to, I'm not as stingy with them as a lot of people. If you look like you tried any kind of effort to put into it, I'll give you a favorite point for it. So anything that's a little more creative.
Your wife says she likes webcams.
Oh yes, she does. She loves posing there for 5 minutes and then checking to see if you got the picture, and the picture that came through, you're looking at your phone, seeing if you got the picture. So you had to wait another 5 minutes to get the picture. Yes.
Yes. We didn't even have time to talk about your puzzle boxes, the ones that you need a U-Haul trailer to take to the events. If you were at GeoCoin Fest, you got to see, the day before, right?
I had them at all the days. So I had them on the Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. They're at all the different events.
Yeah, there were some. I mean, you took up all the tables in an area with puzzle boxes, and people just came by, and it was just amazing to stand there. I was talking with probably you. I was talking with other people as well, and just to hear the beeps and the bloops and the buzzes of all these puzzle boxes going about. So one of them was Simon. So
they are. Simon says needs a volume control on it. Yeah. But they're fun to make. I enjoy making those. In fact, I've kind of changed a lot of focus to making those because I really enjoy at events watching people to do them. And you can make them a little bit different because you take them places with you. You're not just leaving them somewhere, so you can make them a little more creative. And you power them yourself, however. So I enjoy making those, and they're all trackable, which is kind of another spin on trackables. For people to find. So if you can solve the puzzle, you can discover the box itself. But we'll have to do maybe sometime another episode on those. I'd love to see.
Have to have you back up for that too.
Yeah, I'd love to see other people start creating those boxes.
As would I, especially because that means I get to go find them.
Exactly.
Hopefully. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we will be definitely getting you back on. Is there anything that you want to kind of plug before you take off?
No, just if you're interested in seeing anything that I make, a lot of stuff I post, I'll post on my Instagram, which is Bouncebounce8.
And we'll link to that in the show notes as well. So if you want to head over to CacherManiacs.com, we'll have that link there.
Yeah.
Get to see all sorts of interesting things. Caches he's working on, costumes for Halloween.
Pokemon incubators.
Oh, there you go.
I actually have that one. here that I made. I don't know if you saw that, Daryl.
No, I missed that one.
It's an incubator. One sec. Put this back on. So my wife was having a Halloween contest with those little baby pumpkins at her company, and everybody Pokemon's down there in Seattle. So I made this incubator that gives how many more kilometers you have to walk.
That's incredible.
So it lights up on there, and it just flashes. It's kind of cool looking. Nothing big. Of course, we don't have the pumpkin in there anymore because it went bad, but you can put a foam egg in there. I think I did a picture of Chris gave me a great Coke can that has my name on it. So
I think I did see that one.
I put that in there. My son put in this box the Eevee the other day. So
yeah, that's what I still want to call that, the donut box, because that's the one
that's the official name for it now. I'm going to tell everybody that's the donut box.
That's the one that goes to HQ with the cookies.
Yeah.
And we solve the puzzle before you get a treat.
Right. We need it at work to keep people from eating too many donuts as they pass by the break room.
We'll need to cycle the puzzles on that, so they just can't put in the same code and open it up quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to like randomize somehow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks again. We'll definitely have to have you on. And Chris, why don't you take us out?
Why, thank you very much. Make sure you check the Cachemaniacs websites at cachemaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads at cachemaniacs.com or through the many channels of social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniac shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachemaniac shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. The show's copyright 2019 by Daryl Wattenberg. All rights reserved.
Cache with the Cachemaniacs.